I recently did a session about event budgeting 101, and I think that it's just scratching the surface. Therefore, I am going to dedicate this session about the event budgeting, where you need to pay special attention to, which is this category that I call it the hidden fees. Okay. And I am putting an air quote for those of you who can't see and you're listening. Why do I call it a hidden fees? Because it is not an obvious fee, and any layman or person who are not versed in event planning and doing event budgeting may not know to include all these items in the event budget. So today we're going to talk about the few hidden fees that I think that you must know as an event planner and even as a designer or decorator when you are talking to your potential client or client about event budget. I always say whatever they are paying to something else means they are taking away money from paying you. So you need to take the whole event as a big picture to understand how much does the whole event cost as a big picture, so that you can guide your client or potential client on how to manage the event budget, so they can see a way to hire you at the fees that you're quoting them. Okay. So the hidden fees that I think a lot of people do not pay attention to, and that includes the clients that I am currently working with. In fact, I just experienced that 48 hours ago with a client who fell in love with this venue and was quoted the F&B minimum and a room rental. And that was the fee that they were under the impression, because again, they are not event profs, right? They were under the impression that that's all they need to spend, but they forgot there are other fees that are attached to this quote. Okay. And one of those fees, well, actually not one, two of those fees that are attached to any food and beverage minimum or room rental are service charge and tax. Every state you go, regardless where in the US, okay, you will always be charged tax and service charge. But the tricky part is this: people or non-event profs, sometimes even event planners, especially those you're just starting out, have no idea that many properties, venues, they will put a tax on your service charge. So let me give you an example. Okay, if let's say you spend $1,000 on food and beverage, okay, and that was your minimum food and beverage that the venue said that you have to spend. So you spend $1,000, and let's say your tax is 10%, okay? The state tax is 10%. So that $1,000 is subjected to 10%. And you also have a 25% service charge, okay? This 25% service charge, some venue is a straight up 25% service charge. Some venue will split it into some parts of it, like 18% is gratuity and the remainder is admin fee. Okay, so let's just go to the simple route, which is all 25% is service charge. Okay, the whole thing. So you will have to take 25% of that 1,000. Okay, so now $1,000 is what you would need to spend on food and beverage. Now, on top of that, you need to add the 10% tax. That means now you have to pay $100 tax on that 1,000. So now your cost becomes 1,100. And then you have your service charge. Your service charge is 25%. Okay. So now it's 1,000 times by 25%. That's $250. Okay. So now your cost is 1,000 plus $250 plus 100, total is 1,350. That's what you're thinking, right? But if you are not an experienced planner or you have not worked with venues who will not tell you upfront, okay, by the way, they will not tell you upfront. You have to ask this question: is your service charge taxable? And I will guarantee you almost 50%, if not 75% of the venues, if not 100% of the venues that I work with, okay, and I do events all around the country, the service charge is taxable. That means now my $250 service charge is subjected to a 10% tax. So now I have to add on another $25. So my total cost is $1,000 plus $100, which is the 10% tax on that 1,000, plus $250, which is the 25% tax on that 1,000 FMB, okay? Plus another $25, which is the 10% tax on my service charge, okay? Which is 1,375. So that is the total cost that you will be forking out. If they tell you, if the venue tells you that hey, you have a minimum food and beverage of $1,000, all right, there's no room rental, just a minimum F&B of $1,000. That doesn't mean that that's how much your client is going to spend. No, you have to take into consideration the tax and service charge. You have to take into consideration what else is subjected to tax. In this case, the service charge. Now, some venues, they will have like what I said, 18% service, 18% is gratuity, okay? And then the remaining 7%, okay, is the remaining 7% is admin fee. Then they will tell you that, okay, the admin fee is not subjected to tax, but the 18% is subjected to tax. So in this case, you will have to take the 25%, okay? The total 25% times by 1,000. And then you are going to take the so let me just backtrack, okay? So how it's calculated is you are going to take 18% times by the $1,000, then you have to take the 7% times by $1,000, which comes out to 25% times by $1,000. But what is subjected to tax, it's only the portion of that 7% times by the $1,000. So it will come out to be less than 1,375, but there is still money, okay? So those of you who are slow in math, you will have to listen to this session again and do the math again, because I do not want to spend some more time breaking down the math. So you need to understand this is one of the hidden costs, okay? And advise your client, even if he says $1,000 doesn't mean that this is how much you want to spend. Another thing is when it says that you need to spend $1,000, not necessarily you will spend $1,000, because if they have a menu that they gave to you, okay, and based on the number of people you have, and based on the menu price that they gave to you, you realize that, oh my God, we actually have to spend more than $1,000 because the menu price is so expensive, okay? In order to feed your party, you will have to spend more than $1,000, even though the minimum that you need to spend is $1,000, you may end up spending more than $1,000 because the price of the menu is so high. And this is one of the air quote trick, okay, that venues do to entice you to sign a contract with them, thinking that you're only going to spend $1,000. No, okay? You always have to ask for the banquet menus and then look at the pricing based on how many people are coming and the type of food that you want to order, and then come up with the actual number, how much you're going to spend, okay? It may not be $1,000, all right? So that's one of the hidden costs, the tax and service charge, and if service charge is subjected to tax or not, all right? It's one of the hidden costs. Another hidden cost is outside venues will or could charge you an outside fee, okay, or outdoor setup fee. If you are having your event in an outdoor space, okay, the venue may charge you a fee per person. Sometimes could be $5 per person, sometimes could be $10, could be $25, sometimes could be a flat fee, a fee that they are going to charge per person for having the event outdoors. Okay, why do they charge you that? Okay, and again, this is not something that they will tell you upfront. Okay, you will have to ask this question: is there any outdoor setup fee? Because in this case, right, when they give you an outdoor space, they will have to block an indoor space as a rain backup, right? That also means that they cannot rent out the indoor space to another client for another event. So in a way, they are losing potential revenue to rent out two space, the outdoor space and the indoor space. So in order to recoup the cost of not being able to rent out the indoor space because they have to reserve the indoor space as a backup space for your outdoor event, they are charging an outdoor setup fee. Okay, that's one of the reasons. And another reason is also they will have to use a different set of furniture, which is the outdoor furniture. The outdoor furniture, they wear and tear so much faster than the indoor furniture or any furniture that they use for indoor events. Therefore, they need to have more, they have a higher maintenance cost and also replacement cost. Okay, all right? The third hidden fee that I want to talk about, well, actually, I'm going to talk about three. If I have time, I'm going to talk about the fourth one, okay, is any outside vendor fee, okay? Outside vendor fee would be some venues would not let you bring in an outside vendor, okay? And if you do bring in an outside vendor, they will charge you a fee, all right? And this is very common when it comes to audiovisual because a lot of venues, especially hotels, have a contract with an in-house vendor that they have decided that, oh, they are going to work with ABC AV company, and this ABC AV company will be the resident vendor for all the events in the hotel. And the ABC AV vendor, who is the resident vendor of the hotel, in order to be the what we can also call as the preferred vendor or only vendor that they can be used, they will pay a certain percentage of whatever they charge the client to the hotel as a commission. So it's a win-win for the hotel and also for the AV company, okay? So if you decide to bring in your own AV vendors, that means the hotel is not going to get a commission from the AV company, and the AV company is not going to get any revenue from you because you're bringing an outside vendor. So in order to deter you from bringing in your own AV vendors, they will charge an outside AV fee, okay? Outside AV vendor fee sometimes could be $2,500, okay? So you have to take that into consideration. So for me, when I'm doing an event budget for my client, I will always try to get a quote from the in-house vendor, and I'll also get a quote from an outside vendor. And then I will take the quote for the outside vendor and then add on the outside vendor fee that the venue is charging to see the total cost of hiring the outside vendor. Is it still cheaper than hiring the in-house vendor? Okay, so this is also another one of those hidden costs. What else? Okay, so for social events, okay, for social events, sometimes they will charge you, I say social events because it happens more for social events. It can happen for corporate events. There is a fee, what we call forkage fee, okay? Forkage fee and also corkage fee. So since I'm talking about this, I might as well just talk about corkage fee as well. Is when the venue allows you to bring in your own beverage, okay, especially liquor or wine. Okay, so let's say you're doing a corporate event, a very high-end corporate event, and the host want to bring in his vintage wines, okay, from his own collection. And the venue have a wine menu. So if you bring in your own wine, right? If you bring in your own wine, that means they are losing revenue from you ordering wines from them. So they need to recoup the money. So they charge you a corkage fee. So it could be $25 or $50 a bottle. And don't forget, those are also subject to tax and service charge, okay? So they will charge you a corkage fee. So you need to take that into consideration when you put on your event budget, okay? Forkage fee would be if, let's say, you have special diet people, halal, glad kosher, or you're bringing in a cake, okay? A wedding cake, birthday cake, whatever. So now you're not ordering desserts. Now you're not ordering regular food for these special diet people, and you're bringing your own food. So they're losing revenue from these items. So they will charge you a forkage fee. A forkage fee would be a fee per person, okay? Especially if, let's say, you're bringing in a cake and the whole party are enjoying the cake, okay? Everyone from the party, they will be enjoying the cake, so they will not be ordering dessert. So the forkage fee will be per person. Sometimes it could be $5, sometimes it could be $10 per person, okay? So I've covered a few of those hidden costs. Again, the venue will not tell you what are those hidden costs. So you will have to ask upfront, right? Okay, what's your tax and service charge percentage? Is your service charge subjected to tax? And is labor fee subjected to tax and service charge, or is it a flat fee? Is room rental subjected to tax and service charge? And if anything that's subjected to service charge, are they subjected to tax? Is the service charge, split between admin fee or just straight up service charge? If it's subjected to admin fee and gratuity, are both subjected to tax or only the admin fee? Okay, same thing for the outside AV costs, right? Is it subjected to tax and service charge? Same thing for outdoor setup fee. Is it subjected to tax and service charge? Corkage fee, is it subjected to tax and service charge? There are a lot more other hidden fees. I can go on and on and on, but I think your head is swimming right now with all this information. So I'm going to stop right here, okay? The whole purpose of this session is to highlight those fees that any person any person who's not familiar with planning events or have any idea how much to budget for the event budget, or if they don't know what they don't know, so they don't know what to ask the venue. And now I am equipping you with this knowledge so that you can speak intelligently to your potential client, to your client, to ask the venue all these questions, which you are going to add value to yourself, because now you are being an event strategist, okay? Helping your client to plan their budget better. And with that, that is an intangible value that you just added to yourself that will make the client see your value better and will reciprocate by paying you a higher fee, because you're no longer just providing a surface level service. You are actually being very wise, very strategic, and guiding them along on how to plan their event budget and helping them to save money and to find money for something else. Okay? All right. So once again, don't forget to give me a rating, a review, and to share if you're listening to this podcast, to other event profs or small business owners that you think who can benefit from this. And also and if you are watching it on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, okay? And to follow me on my social media, okay? Sometimes I talk a lot about event-specific things on my LinkedIn. So make sure that you follow me on my social media platform and subscribe or to hit follow to continue your learnings.